Alright, King, welcome back to our Trip Threat Challenge here on Zabby, as I like to call it. The actual name of the map itself is in the link down below in the description. I'm not going to continue to butcher it, so I'm calling it Zabby as we move forward. And, yeah, we're still in October. There is rain in the forecast, though, which is not a good thing. The rain is supposed to be here relatively soon from right now, as a matter of fact. So if we're going to do this harvesting contract, we really need to get in the groove of doing it now. Now, to be fair, it is a harvesting contract, and it appears with a harvesting contract, you don't really lose any yield if you do it in the rain, which is, you know, fine, I guess, because it's a contract. But, ooh, there's some more fertilizing contracts that popped out here as well. That's a pretty nice fertilizing contract right there. 1657. Okay, there's quite a few things out here now to choose from. Let's look through this for a minute here. I still think I want to do the harvest here. It's a big field, but it's near where we are, right? But it's a big field. I could just borrow the equipment they have, but if I borrow the equipment they have, that's a lot of money off, right? That's a lot of money off. So I think, even though this may not be the smartest choice to do, I think we're going to do it with the small harvester here that we got and just kind of go for it. It is beans. As I mentioned before, this should, in theory, produce a pretty decent amount of money for us, and whatever we can save, we will certainly do so, like we've been doing. Throw it into our harvester and kind of go from there. You know, and hope for the best. Now, I am likely going to utilize a worker for a good chunk of this, and you might be saying to yourself, well, isn't that going to remove quite a bit of you know, the profit that you would otherwise get if you're utilizing a worker for most of this? It will remove some, yes, but we're still going to make a good profit off of this, right? It's not going to be the entirety. That's a weird thing to look at. It's not the whole field hasn't been marked for some reason. Anyway, you know, so we're definitely going to lose a little bit, but in the long run, we're still going to make enough that I'm not too concerned about it. We've got a lot to do today. We want to get this field done. We got to do at least one other contract, which I don't know which one I'm going to do. I think it really depends on how today's episode goes, how long it takes for today's episode. I do think it's going to take a bit of time because we want to get this harvested. We've got to get the other field drilled. And I think we're going to do spelt. I think this might have been what we talked about the last episode. But we're going to do spelt there. And then realistically, as crazy it might sound, I do think I want to put some lime down in all these fields, right? We're playing precision farming, right? So I do think I want to get some lime down. We really want to try to get the best yield as we can get out of the two fields that we currently own. So I think I'm going to spend a little bit of money to accomplish that. Now, the money we end up spending to do that, you know, it might just be the amount of money we're making off the contracts, but really that's kind of what the reason for the contracts are being there are for, right? Is to help you offset some of the cost that you otherwise would have to incur without them. And, you know, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it, right? It would be nice to, you know, take those contracts and take the full amount of money and be able to buy some more stuff that we desperately need. But, you know, putting lime down, it's definitely going to increase the yield, and that's something I just really want to make sure that we accomplish here, is having a really good yield from the two fields that we do currently own, right? So we're going to kind of focus towards that, I think, a little bit today. So I'm going to get this set up a little bit more. I'll throw this on a worker, and then you'll see me head on over to the other field, and we're going to go ahead and get started on getting it drilled. Well, actually, I could put the lime down first. I guess maybe that's what I should do. That's really what you should be doing anyway. Yeah, I guess we'll put the lime down first. I mean, it won't really matter if we're drilling in the rain or not. It's not going to be that big of a difference, so I'm not too concerned about that. Anyway, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're all doing well. The last couple of episodes of the Island Preservation series, which is also actively running, kind of in tandem with this one, right? Multiple times a week. Man, we've been struggling the last couple of episodes on that series. So if you haven't watched that series for whatever reason and you want some laughs, I would recommend you check it out just for the sake of laughing at me, because I've been struggling on that series. But we are making progress on that series. It's a bit of a shameless plug for that series in case you don't watch that one. A lot of fun, man. I'm having a lot of fun on that series, but I am struggling. I keep running into issues that I'm not anticipating or thinking about. And it's causing me to have issues elsewhere because it changes my plans, and then other things don't work out, but we're getting through it, though. I think we've got a couple episodes still to go here before I think we'll be kind of out of that position I've got us in at the very beginning with buying probably the incorrect stuff to start with. But we're very close. We are very close to turning the page on that series and actually starting to really see some fruits of the labor that we've been doing, right? We really are close. And I'm excited about that. So it's a good thing, man. Bit of a shameless plug there real quick, but it is a good thing. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. I think you'll like it. I really do. If you like this series, you'll like that one. Our harvester is getting extremely dirty already. Look at how dirty it is. Whew. Now this field is not, I mean, it's a large field. It really is a large field, but, you know, if we had a bigger harvester, this would be done pretty quickly. If we utilized the harvester that it wanted us to use, in other words, if we borrowed the harvester that was going to be given to us for the contract itself, it would be done a lot faster, right? We probably would have, I don't know, 2 or 3 meter width addition to what we currently have, right? This one is pretty small. It's a nice harvester. I really do like this Massey Ferguson 310. It is a nice harvester, but it is a little small. It is a little slow. A little clunky, if you will, the way that it backs up and starts and everything, but it works. So I can't really complain too much. We don't have tons of money to spend. It's not like we can go out there and buy a big, massive harvester. So I'm very happy that this is even an option for us on console to be able to do, right? So we did a first headland pass. I'm going to go ahead and put this on a worker for the remainder. They're going to do a lot more headland passes, and that's fine. They can. I actually think I'm going to take a little bit of a... I'm going to slow down time just a little bit because it is October, so the sun's going to start going down a lot quicker, and I don't really want to be working all that much in the dark here, if at all possible. I don't think it makes for good content, really. If it's completely dark out, it's hard to see what I'm doing. And we'll jump over here to the fast track, and we're going to go ahead and get started on drilling this field. Now, I said we were going to do spelt, so we'll go ahead and switch to get to spelt, wherever that is. Ooh, maybe we don't have spelt. Oh, we do. Okay. Went way too fast. This thing does a lot. There we go. No, it's not full. We're going to probably have to fill up before we are finished doing this drilling here. And like I said, we could have did the lime first, and probably should have, but it really doesn't make a difference in the game. The game lets you do it either way, so it doesn't make that big of a difference. So we'll just go ahead and get started here on doing the drilling, and then we'll throw lime on both of our fields, right? We've got both fields that need some lime on them. Initially, I had thought that I would kind of offset these fields a little bit. Turns out we're obviously not going to be able to do that, and that's just based solely on a time perspective, right? So spelt, this is the last month we can put spelt in. After this month, it becomes a very small amount of things that you can put in the ground. It's mostly cover crop type of stuff, clover and alfalfa, that kind of stuff as well, but mostly it's cover crop. You could utilize those technically for cover crop if you wanted to, but you get what I mean, right? So there's not many cereal type of crops or whatever that are available to put into the ground. And as I mentioned, at least early on here for sure, I kind of want to go pretty heavy on some of the different kind of crops that you get with this map versus what you would get with a standard map on the game. And in other words, something you would come out of the box, vanilla out of the box. So I wanted to kind of utilize some of these different type of crops that we don't normally get to see or utilize all that often. So early on, you'll see a lot more of that, right? You'll see the poppy, you'll see the millet, you'll see the spelt, you'll see triticole, you'll see mustard, which we've already done, right? Just etc. You see things like that just because I do want to kind of keep it fresh and different from other series as much as I can. And having said that, I understand that I am utilizing some equipment that is still the same from other series, but anywhere that I can, financially wise, I will absolutely do so, right? But yeah, hopefully you're doing well, man. Things are good. Things are good. We're cruising along here. Quite a few new members have just recently joined, so just a real quick shout out to them. Thank you very much for your support. It really does mean a lot. If you're interested in that, there's a link down below. Shameless plug, but there's a link down below. You get early access videos like this one, among numerous other perks. Everything's down below for you to check out. I don't normally bring that up at all until the very end of the episode, but since there's been so many new ones recently, I felt the need that I should at least just throw out a quick thank you to those of you who are new to the channel, and those of you who have been around for a long time. There's quite a few of you that have been around for a very long time, and I cannot thank you guys enough for all your support. It really does mean a lot. Helps me out, helps the channel out. Every single dollar that I get is almost entirely put back into the channel itself. You may not see that, but it is. I just recently, I was talking about this, I don't know, about a month or so ago, I know, and I was talking about, I would love to get to a point where I'm making just a little bit more money, and I wasn't even thinking from a member standpoint. I was thinking more from a, ad standpoint, right? So I get paid a certain amount of money from the ads that Google puts on the channel, and so I spent some of the money that I've been getting, and I've got an Epidemic Sound, I was going to say contract. I guess it kind of is a contract, but subscription is really what I was trying to get to. So you've probably, at least over the last couple of episodes, at least if you've been around for a while, I've heard some different music on the channel. It still should be in the same, type of genre as you're used to, but, different stuff. And before that, I really had to, utilize whatever was available free from YouTube. And I'm not saying that there's not some good stuff out there on YouTube. There is, and, they're updating it slowly but surely, but Epidemic Sound just gives you a lot of other options, right? A lot of other options to choose from, so it won't be such a repetition of the same songs as much as it has in the past. I'm not saying you won't hear the same songs every once in a while. You probably will, but it'll be less than it used to be. But is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I'm trying something new out. We're going to see how it goes. I actually did the whole year subscription just because it is cheaper overall to do the whole year versus paying for it by the month. So we're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. And if it doesn't go well, then next year I won't re-up it, right? So I guess to that point, let me know if you do like the different songs that have been coming out, and so I'm not going to get them right every time, and especially early on here. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not going to get them right every time. There's going to be some songs that you probably don't like, but we'll get through it, right? There's thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of songs out there for me to choose from, so it's going to take me a while to find the correct. How do I want to put it? We're missing a whole strip here. What is going on here? That's all right. We'll come back and touch that up. If it's going to take a while to get the correct, all the different filtered out genres that are required to really get the exact sound we're looking for. Oh, we're not. How do we get off the... That's the reason why. I don't know how we got off the marker here, but we did. Oh, well. I'll fix it. It's not going to be that big of a deal. I think the worker is going to be full here any minute. I guess not. They're only 63% full. I would have thought that they would have been near completely filled up. Maybe that field just is not the greatest yield. I don't know. It's a contract. I'm not going to worry about it too much. We're getting $5,000 some odd dollars for utilizing our own equipment, and then whatever bonus we're able to capture from the beans. Probably won't be much. Probably kind of like what we did at the flax, right? Maybe 600-700, maybe 1,000, maybe. But you know what? Every little bit counts when we get here into the winter months, right? We're not going to have a whole lot to do in the winter months. That's going to be the struggle I've talked about, right? That's not saying that we can't just skip months or just jump and do multiple months in an episode. We probably will do that, but there's just not going to be much to do, right? So we're going to want all of those things to potentially sell and make a little bit of extra money, even if it means we have to do multiple trips for very little crop in there, right? So, we know what we're going to do here. We're going to get the rest of this field drilled up. We've got to take care of the worker too, so they're going to be full at some point soon. We're going to need to bring the trailer over there, unload that, get the worker going back again. Then we're going to get that brand new fertilizer spreader that we got, because it can do lime, and we're going to get some lime from our buying point. I'm just going to do it from the buying point, even though it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Just going to do it from there anyway. We're going to lime both of these fields, try to get them in the best spot we can get them into. Yeah, and we'll kind of go from there. I guess I should have had this on the beginning so you can actually see it turning into a greenish color versus the red it was. But we'll get it, everything kind of sorted out, everything fixed up, and put ourselves in a lot better of a spot, hopefully, for when the time comes for these to be ready to harvest. Okay, stand corrected. That is by far the longest time lapse we've ever done on the channel. I just was having a blast. I was just going to town, was not even paying attention to the clock. And then I realized we hit over 30 minutes of a time lapse. That is insanity. I may have to modify some of that, so it may not end up being that entire 30 minutes time lapse sped up. But we are making good progress here, gang, and this field itself here is going to be in really good shape. We're spending a lot of money. A lot of money. Money that we probably should really spend this early on in the challenge. But you know what? I'm okay with it. we're getting this field set to be, you know, massive powerhouses when it comes to the production, because they're going to be in such good shape that, you know, we're just going to be a lot better off as we move forward here, I guess is how I will put it. Now the field on the other side, obviously the actual ground itself, the type of soil is not as good as this side, which is a bit unfortunate. So the pH value is obviously just a little bit different there. Now, when I say that, it may not specifically mean that you're not going to get as good of a yield. It's just the type of you know, soil that you're utilizing, right? So there's certain soils that are going to require more lime than others, and it may just be that maybe that field is a little bit better off where it doesn't require as much soil, right? But either way, we are trying to get these in as good of shape as we possibly do. Now, really, it wants us to go kind of up and down. I think I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to go a little untraditional here, because I think it's going to save us some lime in the long run, and I'm all about trying to save us money whenever it counts, especially right now, right? Now, I know, having said that, I'm utilizing a bi-silo, which is more expensive for the lime itself, but that's okay. That was more for convenience and wear and tear more than anything, honestly. Did start raining, unfortunately, but I would say half of that harvest field is done. And speaking of that, I bet the workers are pretty close to being full again. They are. There's still a lot left to do here, if I'm honest with you. There's a lot. But we're cruising. It's starting to get dark out, too, which is not the most ideal situation. I talked about that, right? I said I was hoping we wouldn't be doing a whole lot here in the dark. Now, it's not 100% to a point now where, you know, it can be considered that it's nighttime yet, but it's very close. It is October, right? It's very close. AI worker Tomic. It actually has names now? They actually have names. Interesting. I don't think I noticed that the first time we utilized a worker. I wasn't paying attention. Well, we're going to take Tomic off the job here soon, so when we put somebody else back on, I guess maybe we'll see it. Well, we might. Probably won't, though, actually. I was going to say we might see it, but it really depends on if they get, you know, full again, or if something's in the way. I guess that's the way we could force to see what the name is if we just got in their way. So yeah, these contracts we're getting here, realistically, all we're going to be doing, unfortunately, is just paying for all the stuff. But in the long run, it's worth it. Like I mentioned earlier, it's worth it, right? We're just going to be paying for the lime. We're going to be paying for the seed and fertilizer we bought, which I was not really expecting to do in that time lapse, which I'm sure you saw. I ran out of fertilizer, and I didn't even notice it until halfway up the secondary return strip that we were working on. But we got that all sorted out as well, so... Now, we got one more contract we can do, right, in October. We did one in the last episode. We're doing the harvesting one now, so that's two. So we've got the option for one more harvesting contract we can do today. Or, well, not even harvesting contract. One more contract in general we can do today. So we've got to make a decision on what contract that may be. I definitely want to do one more contract before the end of October here. I want to get all three of them in. At some point down the line in the future, there may be a point where we aren't doing all three of the contracts. But early on here, that is really our lifeblood here to continue to be able to succeed here and actually have some money to play with, right? We really, truly do need to continue to utilize those to try to help offset some of this. So, let's do a quick autosave. I figured that was going to happen when we did a 30-something minute time lapse. Whew. I'm telling you, I've never done a time lapse that long in my life. Not once. What are we looking like contract-wise? Is there anything else out there for us? No, it's pretty much the same thing that you saw before. There's not really a major change there. I think fertilizing probably makes the most sense, because we already have plenty of fertilizer. So it wouldn't cost us anything extra, and it would help pay for that a little bit. And we already know... you know, that it doesn't take us that long to do it, right? Fertilizing is a very quick job, which I think makes a lot of sense, right? I'd rather drive a mile over here just to unload this. There's still a lot left to do over here, and I'm not quite sure how much more is going to fit into the harvester here. The trailer here. I would suspect we're pretty full, which means we're gonna have to go and take a load and sell it. Let's try to finish up this field really quick here. Probably have 2 more buys, unfortunately, though, before we're gonna be done here. There's still a lot left to do. Field could definitely utilize a little bit more lime, but we're gonna have to wait till the next harvest before that happens. And you know, it's gonna say it doesn't need any, but there's a chance that we might be able to put some more down and get it into an even better spot as far as the pH value goes. All right, that's taken care of. Let's hit these little spots up over here, so that way I don't have to worry about them. We can just focus on whatever's remaining up there, that big section, because we're, like I said, we're probably going to have to buy some more here. I don't see any way that we don't. Only 418 liters. It's not the biggest portion there, but it's enough that I think we're going to have to buy some, and it's just going to be a little sliver that's remaining. Yep, like I said, just a little bit left, but we're going to have to buy some more anyway. I'm happy I slowed down in time. If I didn't slow down in time there, we would have, it would have been pitch black right now. It would have been pitch black out. Now, a lot of people have taken on this contract. There's been a lot of questions. I tried the best I could to explain it, and some of these questions you guys are coming up with, it makes a lot of sense why you have these questions. I probably should have started talking about this a lot sooner, so those of you who have been watching the whole way through and maybe are taking this on, we'll try to answer them for you again. A couple people asked, you know, once you pay off the actual loan, does the threat continue? In other words, every January, do you have to continue to ask, do I need to take out a loan? No, you don't. Once you pay the loan off, it's over. So if you pay it off quickly, that's probably in your best interest, but you know it's not always going to be that way. You have to get lucky. There's a high chance or high probability, I mean 50%, that you are going to be running this series for 3, 4, 5 years in game before you may get yes, you're allowed to pay off the loan from that randomizer, right? Now, probably not. You're probably going to get it when, you know, once out of every 3 spins. I would think you're probably going to get it, but you never know, man. It's a 50-50 chance. You never know. You never know. Other question. Are you able to put other animals down? Like, so for me, I got water buffalo. Can I put other animals down? The answer is yes, I can. 100%. Yes, you can. There's no rule or restriction against that. You are 100% allowed to do that. Just to complete that specific threat, you do have to do the animal that you got from a randomizer, though. You can't just put down another animal because you didn't want to do that specific animal. Does that make sense? So for in other words, I've got mustard. If I wanted to right now, I could put down some chickens because we do know that chickens do eat mustard. I figured that out. One of you actually mentioned that to me, which is awesome to know. But since, you know... oh, there we go. It's full. But since I do have mustard, it probably makes a lot of sense for me to go ahead and put some chickens down, right? I can have them sit there and eat the mustard that we got and produce a little bit of extra income for us by producing eggs for us, right? So, yeah, I think it's something that we're going to consider ourselves personally. Of course, we're going to have the money to do so. $22,000 is a decent amount of money, as I've mentioned before, but it's not, in my eyes, really that much money. Is it really worth putting the chickens down right now and buying all the chickens and spending pretty much all the money we have? I would say the answer to that is probably not. I don't know why I just did a spin-a-rooney there, but whatever, I decided to do a spin-a-rooney, I guess. I would say the answer is probably not, right? So, okay, we've been up to 232 before. We know, I don't really know the fastest way to get there, but we kind of know where that is. We kind of know how to get there, sort of. I think the way we'll go is I think we'll take our track up this way and try to cut over a little bit. Down over there, you know, if you see where our main yard is, go straight up that track between 31 and 39 there and hit the main road. I think that's the way I'll go. I don't think it really matters which way I go, but I think that's the way I'll go. I think from a strategic standpoint, that's probably the fastest way to get there. But I'm definitely going to need the map for this. I'm going to need the map. I'm probably going to get lost. We're taking over for the worker here. We are running out of time to get all this stuff done. It is getting very, very dark very, very quickly here. I don't love it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't think working at night is the best quality material for you to watch. It becomes hard to see a lot of the times. Kind of cool with the lights and everything for a little while, but you know, like right now is like the time where I would say it's kind of cool with the lights because you can still kind of see without the lights, but once it becomes pitch black dark, which is going to happen here any second, we are in trouble, man. We are struggling to get this episode done in at least somewhat of daylight. There is a lot left to do. Maybe I should have reconsidered doing this. I really liked the idea of getting this done because, well, quite frankly, one, the actual amount of money we make for doing this contract. Two, the amount that we probably will hopefully be able to capture and save to put into the silo of beans, right? And three, how close proximity it was to our yard, right? Super close. We don't have to drive the harvester really far away. We already know the harvester is relatively slow moving, right? So having that option just, to me, seemed like it was a win-win situation for us. But we're struggling. We're struggling here. Rain is still coming down strong. We probably got, it says between 16 and 18, so it may not be done anytime soon, actually. I thought it was going to be done at 17, but it may not be. It may be closer to 18 before it's done. Now, for whatever reason, the GPS for this field had the worker going at a weird angle. But as you can see, the way for me, it's got me going up and down your more traditionals, not at a diagonal like it was doing before. So I'm not really quite sure why it was doing that, but I suspect that's a good chunk of the reason why it was taking it so long to do this field. Because I feel like if we would have just did it outright, we would have already been done by now. But you know, we had other things we had to accomplish, right? We had to get those fields done. Did we have to get the lime down on them? No, not necessarily. I guess we could have went a whole season without lime, but I really did want to have the lime on there. I really want to try to get the best yield as we possibly can get from those fields, and that meant putting lime down. I think I'm going to have to put this back on a worker, though, because we really do need to get that last contract done. I want that money for the last contract. I think we're going to do that fertilizing contract of that one. I just think it makes the most sense. I already kind of set up the fertilizer spreader anyway. It's not super far away from where we are, so we'll go ahead and accept this, and it really shouldn't take us that long. I'm going to get to the end of this strip down here. I'm going to unload this and then put this back on a worker, and we'll get underway with doing that final fertilizing contract. We should, in theory, have enough fertilizer in our hopper of the fertilizer spreader we got without having to take any out of the drill or buy in any more or anything like that. We should have enough. Famous last words right there. Should. We still have to cart all this stuff too, just where we just went and took all that stuff. So I mean, we've got a ways to go here in this episode, even with how long it's already been. We got a ways to go, man. Alright, the workers going to continue their thing here. I'm just going to move this a little bit further down here so it's a little bit closer to some of the spots where we're probably going to finish at, more than likely. I'll leave it there. I guess I'll turn the lights on because things are getting darker out. We're going to need them. When I say things, I'm talking about the sun, everything. Clouds, the whole ground, everything around us is all becoming darker. That sun is literally right on its last leg. It's literally just barely above the trees. Alright, so I want to do this. I want to deactivate automatic application rate. I want to drop it all the way down to the lowest. Looks like it's there. And we'll head on over to field 59, which again is not super far away from us. Whoops, just drive right into the tree. Good job, Z. Way to go, buddy. This is a long... I know this is. I mean, I haven't looked at the full details of all the different OBS recordings I've got, but... I didn't do one continuous recording like I normally would do in this one. I kind of broke it up a little bit. I know this episode is super long. So those of you that do like the longer episodes, you're going to get one here. I mean, that time-lapse alone... as I mentioned, was already super long, right? No. Get off a worker. No. Not a worker. ZYGFRYD. Okay. Yeah, this isn't a very big field. This is not going to take us long to do this. This will be quick. Which is good. This will be a quick $1,600, right? We'll take it. And the nice thing that all of you taught me many moons ago is, you know, before I would always have it on auto, and for contracts like this, you definitely shouldn't be doing that. You should go into the lowest application rate possible. You're not going to use that much fertilizer, and you're still going to get credit for the contract. It's still applying fertilizer. It didn't specifically state how much fertilizer you needed to apply, right? It's dusk now. 100% dusk. There are parts of it with the trees where it's completely dark out here if we didn't have the lights on. So I was thinking about our water buffalo and exactly where I want to put them, right? I've talked about that a lot, and you know, I keep saying, you know, I do think it makes sense to put them in our main yard area, and I kind of am sticking by that. But, you know, the other thing that might be nice to do is, this is one of the other ones we were kind of looking at buying. It's a very small one. It's expensive. But it might be nice to actually just purchase this section here and put them here, because right across the way, which I would assume they're probably always going to be grass fields, there's 2 grass fields, large grass fields, which would be extremely useful. You know, maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. That's something to think about. Contract's done, though, so we can turn that one in, which is good. $1,657. We'll take it. We used about 17% of our fertilizer, I think, somewhere around there, maybe 16%, something like that. Really, really, really enjoying this map. The fields are super expensive, though. Even the small fields, they're very expensive. So, that definitely helps the challenge, in my opinion, right? Should they be as expensive as they are? I don't know. Some maps, they would be super cheap, and other maps, this is the right price. So I don't know. I think from a realism standpoint, yeah, they probably should be this expensive. But all it does is certainly help our little challenge we got here, right? It just makes it more difficult for you to be able to purchase a field, which is a good thing. Increases the longevity of the series because of that reason, right? Now, really, this should be under some kind of cover here, but, there's not really much we can do about that. Same with the straw bales. There's not much we can do about that right now. Do we have the money where we could put down some kind of a shed? Yes. But we're not going to do that yet. Alright, so I would think the worker's done or close to being done. It looks like they're done. We'll need to... Well, I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot of checking I don't think we can do here. Yeah, they're done. They're done. So, what we're going to do is just fill this thing up, and we're going to go and bring it to the sell point and try to stop it whenever it is accomplished. 5% more, I guess, technically has to go into the sell point, and then we'll try to hold on to as much of the rest as we can and bring it back here. And I think even though we've done quite a number of, well, not really that many, but one time lapse that was super long and then another time lapse going and doing this, I think that is the best way to accomplish the remainder of this. So let's go do that, and I'll meet you back here at the yard probably when it's pitch black dark out. All right, we literally made it in the nick of time here, gang. It is literally, there's nothing left of the sun. It is behind the trees at this point. So we did save 1,075 liters of beans, which I think is pretty good. That's a decent amount saved in comparison to the flax, right? We didn't save that much in the comparison, right? We got flax. We've got 687. So that's a decent amount of savings in comparison to that, right? So every little bit helps. We're going to need that here in the coming winter months for sure. We're going to have little to do. There's going to be little contracts out there to do as well. So it's definitely going to be a big help for us when those winter months do arrive, which are really, you could argue, are starting in November. But we're going to leave this episode here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like, subscribe button. On the case you've yet to do so, they are free to do. They help me out an absolute ton. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, ideas, make sure you let me know down below in the comments. I'm happy to get back to you on those. As I mentioned early on in this episode, I want to thank each and every one of my members, especially all the new and long members that have been on the channel for a very long time. Each and every one of you are very much appreciated. It really does mean a lot to me, man, that you provide me a little bit of extra money for the channel. It really does help. I put all of it towards the channel. Every single bit that you guys provide, it goes towards the channel. Again, as I mentioned, you may not actually directly see it, but it does. Helping create thumbnails that I utilize the program Canva for. I've talked about that in the past. Fantastic program. If you haven't checked it out, it's awesome. And then now, as I mentioned in this episode, we now are utilizing Epidemic Sound, which is awesome to have a library of hundreds of thousands of songs to choose from, which we did not have access to before. So just helps change things up a little bit, spice things up, and keep it interesting. And yeah, I'm gonna go inside, catch some Z's. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.